Now, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry addressed the people of France directly today. He said the freedom of expression represented by the Charlie Hebdo magazine cannot be killed with terror.
Je veux m'adresser directement aux Parisiens et à tous les Français pour leur dire que tous les Américains se tiennent à leur côté, non seulement dans l'horreur, la colère et la condamnation de ce terrible acte de violence, mais que nous sommes également solidaires de votre engagement dans la bataille, la lutte contre l'extrémisme et de votre détermination à protéger la valeur qui fait si peur aux extrémistes et qui a toujours uni nos deux pays. La liberté, c'est ça.
The U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, who's obviously a fluent French speaker, directly addressing people in France. And again, remembering that France is America's oldest ally. And joining me now from Paris is Bernard-Henri Lévy. He's a prominent French writer, public intellectual. So you are also a friend of this show. Welcome back to this program on this incredibly, incredibly sad day. What is your first reaction to what happened in your city today?
It is a great moment of sorrow, of pain, of mourning for any French woman or man today. This morning it was an act of war. It was a real attack, not exactly terrorist, a sort of execution. It was not blind terrorism. These murderers came to Charlie Hebdo. They called some of the killed people by their name. They called them by their name and they did execution them. So it's a very strange and new form of terror which happened today. I must say also that to hear John Kerry expressing these words in this language, my language, French language, is a great moment of brotherhood and solidarity. On September 11, we French felt that all of us were, for a moment, Americans. Today, John Kerry saying, I am Charlie, I am French, is a sort of opposite of reverse. Solidarity of America with French people, and this is warm to my heart and to the heart of all your French friends and allies.
And clearly that message was loud and clear to you all. But you have just called this an act of war. And you're right, this was, as far as we know, a deliberate execution of people who do nothing more than work with their pens and with their computers and with their words and their voices. How do you, Bernard, as an intellectual, as a writer, as a journalist, how do you continue? How does Charlie Hebdo continue? How does the French press continue after this direct attack?
Charlie Hebdo was a very small magazine, a nearly underground magazine, but it was the embodiment of the spirit of France, of the best of France, which is, like in America, freedom of speech, spirit of tolerance, will not to be oppressed by religions and so on. Voltaire was embodied by Charlie Hebdo. So it was at the same time a tiny magazine and the heart of France. Those guys this morning did try to kill the heart and the spirit of France. Therefore, the emergency now, the task for any French writer, any French journalist, is to help the spirit of Charlie Hebdo, which is the spirit of France, to survive and to develop itself. And there is today in all French cities a movement of solidarity with Charlie Hebdo and what Charlie Hebdo was embodying, which is incredible. Again, very similar to what happened in America after September 11. There was no blue and red America after September 11. There was United States of America. Today in France, after this form of September 11, there is no right or left, no Muslim or Jews, no Catholic or atheist. there is French people standing firmly with their own values and saying no to terror.
Yes, indeed. But what do you think French Muslims have to do now, if anything? Do they have to come out? Do senior imams, do moderate Muslims in France have to say something or not?
They have, absolutely, they have to say something, yes. It's the right moment for them, for those who did not do it already since years and years. Some did it already, but those who did not do it, it's the right moment to express their strong feeling that these murderers of this morning are also enemies of Islam, that Islam is not that Islam does not look like this terrible caricature which was expressed by those killers. So it is the moment, yes, of course, for all the Muslims of this country to go in the streets and to say, not in our name. And I know a lot, we had already today some imams, some spiritual authorities of Islam who said very clearly, this cannot be acted in our name. And there will be, I'm sure, more and more French citizens of Muslim origin who will say in the next hours, not in our name. We have nothing to do with this ugly and disgusting form and image of Islam. This is the task. There is two tasks today in France. Number one, for all French people not to mistake the enemy. Islam is not the enemy. Islamism, radical Islam is the enemy, of course not Islam. For the Muslims, the task is to go in the street, to go wherever it is possible to say this cannot be done in our name.
Bernard, you are very well aware of what's going on in your own country with the rise of the far right. Very, very far ahead in the polls now, the National Front. You see what's going on a weekly basis in Germany, these anti-Islamic demonstrations. This is happening in an environment that is already very, very highly sensitized. How do you think this will play in the next few weeks and days and months inside French politics?
I am not sure at all that it will be profitable for National Front, which means for extreme right. What we see today, at the very minute when we are speaking, in all French cities, is completely different from what expect National Front. People, young and old, women and men, all classes, are in the street with a feeling of unity, refusing any political recuperation and well decided not to be played by any extremism like Front National. Mrs. Le Pen might be surprised by the Republican and mature reaction of the French people. There is a trap, of course, there is a trap. We will see, as Nathalie Nogueret said, some people of National Front saying, you see, we said it since long, and so on. My feeling is that tonight the trap is not working, and that there is a very mature political reaction of the very majority of France who refuses the choice between Islamism and National Front, because in the depth of their heart, the majority of French citizens know that it is in a way very similar, that they are twins. The extreme right and the fascist Islamists, they are sort of cursed twins, and they will not choose between one and the other.
Bernard-Henri Lévy, always good to hear from you. Thank you so much.